Communication issues.
Communication issues. Sometimes it's tough.
Yeah.
That's a great point. All right, let's just run through out loud. Okay. All right. Welcome to The Village, the heartwarming and insightful podcast where two incredible moms come together to share their journey of navigating life, love, and the intricate art of blending families. Join us as we dive into the joys, challenges, and unique experiences that arise when two families become one. Hosted by Kayla, that's me, and hosted by Megan, that's me. The Village offers a genuine and relatable space where we share our personal stories, triumphs, and lessons learned on the path of creating our harmonious and loving blended family. Whether you're a stepmom, bonus mom, a birth mom, or simply someone interested in the beautiful chaos of family dynamics, this podcast is for you. Each episode is a heartfelt conversation that covers a wide range of topics, from the everyday moments that bring laughter and tears to the more complex discussions surrounding co-parenting, step-sibling relationships, and building a strong foundation of love and trust. We openly explore the challenges we've faced, the strategies we've employed, and the unexpected joys that have come our way. The Village isn't just about blending families. It's about the power of friendship, support, and sharing the journey with someone who understands. Tune in as we swap stories, offer practical advice, and invite experts to weigh in on subjects like effective communication, managing expectations, and nurturing connections in a modern blended family. Whether you're seeking guidance, inspiration, or simply a sense of community, The Village is here to remind you that you're never alone on this incredible journey. Subscribe now to join our community of fellow moms, and let's mom together through the ups and downs, creating a tapestry of love and unity one episode at a time. I mean, after all, it takes a village. Oh yeah, and by the way, her ex-husband is my current husband. Hey y'all.
Hey guys. I think we're going to try opening a new way. Remember we talked about that?
We did. How was your day?
It was good-ish. Prepping for vacation. So
yeah, baby.
Trying to do way more at work than normal. Mm-hmm. So that's stressful. Trying to Christmas shop. So that's stressful.
I am literally, tomorrow we are stocking stuffing.
And done?
And yeah.
Done?
I think so.
I think I have till probably, I'm going to give myself till Saturday. I think Saturday will be my cutoff because I'm going to pack. I'm going to do last minute errands for stockings.
Yep.
And then I think I'll be finished just in time.
What do you put in the kids' stockings?
A random assortment of things. Candy, yep. Socks, underwear, toothbrush, toothpaste. Braden asked for deodorant this year. Specifically, antiperspirant.
Antiperspirant.
And then just like usually little gadgets. Like the girls, I'll do like nail polish, lip gloss, stuff like that. The boys like football cards or something.
This year I did for a little
tiara.
Where you wash your face.
Oh, the headband thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
see?
That's a good idea.
One of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stuffed that in there earlier today.
Good idea.
Yeah.
How about you?
Knickknacks, randoms. Lana and I got a new tire light. I don't know how that's gonna work. It was on sale, like super sale of Amazon. Like at night where you're like tired.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what a tire light was for. I'm assuming for a bike, but
you know, it could be for anything. A car. Landon really wants that car tire light.
Like a bike light?
Camden, I've got nothing in his stocking yet. Santa's slide.
Should he be easy? Like,
yeah, I'll throw a monster truck in there too, and
so.
he'll be fine.
Snacks, candy.
Pistachios.
Oh, I forgot he loves pistachios. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's it.
How about work and everything, getting ready for the trip? Is it overwhelming?
It is.
Yeah.
So we're going out of town next week.
Yeah.
The kids now know.
They do know.
So we can tell you guys that we are going to be taking a family cruise.
Yep. The
Village takes on Carnival Cruise.
Yes.
Poor Carnival.
Should be interesting. This is the first trip we've actually done, all of us, right?
Yeah.
And all the kids are really excited. We're going to go to Amber Cove, which is Dominican, and then
Grand
Turk.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're prepping for that and Christmas simultaneously, which has been an experience.
And then on top of the craziness, I'm trying to finish a class.
School.
For school, I hate statistics.
The end.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in our life right now.
Yeah, so we're a little busy, a little hectic, but I cannot wait to sit my butt on a boat and not have a care in the world.
Yeah.
But today's topic is communication. Yeah. We kind of dabbled in this on a few of our episodes. We kind of really wanted to like hyper focus with one episode on it. I got cold. I just got cold.
It's cold in here.
I like it though.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it.
So we recorded in my office and there's no AC unit in here.
No.
But I've been hot these past couple days.
So the cold's
and
nice.
my friend Alexis got me these really cute socks. And I wanted to wear them and just kind of be cuddly and
cozy today.
Cozy.
We should have made coffee. I don't know why we didn't do that.
Oh. Cut it. We're making coffee. Tink. We did it. We're back.
We're back. We got coffee.
Sorry about that, guys. You know, necessities.
It was cold. Okay, where did we leave off, though?
We're going to start over we're going to talk about communication today.
Yeah. Well, and I think, so last episode was about holidays and about how we handle the holidays. And so I think this kind of goes kind of hand in hand in that, but then also with like everything else.
You know, I didn't even think about that. Mm-hmm. Like how to communicate throughout the holidays.
Correct.
And yeah.
So I think we were going to dive into just kind of our style of communication.
Yes.
And then some things that we've learned just by researching communication and co-parenting. And I did not realize that there were like apps and stuff that people use for communication. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah.
But let's like, I guess, start from the beginning. Let's start with, I guess, like the beginning stages and before we could communicate well, right?
Yeah. So Dan and I, never really could communicate well. And so I grew up in a family that did not argue much at all. I never knew how to argue. And I think Dan came from a very passionate family, and they don't even, argue isn't the word. Mm-mm. When they get passionate about something, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, they just kind of yell.
I'm going to throw in a tidbit there, and I'm learning this as I get older. I think it's a northern thing.
I was going to say that.
They're all from the north, and in the south, you don't do that. And I'm the same way. We didn't grow up yet. Well, my dad's also from the north, so he did when he got angry, but not, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I just kind of hermited, it's not a word, but became a hermit when Dan and I would communicate about things, and he would get passionate, and I would take that as him getting angry. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? And then I just shut down. Mm-hmm. You know, that went back and forth for a long time. And then, you know, we got our divorce, and I was dating Steven at that time, if not maybe engaged. But Dan and I, we were on the phone, and I don't even know what we were talking about. I can't recall it. That's how petty probably the argument was. Dan continued to yell, and he was yelling and cussing, and I just kind of started crying because that's kind of my go-to.
Your reaction.
I felt like I was trying to do something right probably, and maybe it wasn't the right thing, so then I'm just getting yelled at for whatever reason. Steven took the phone out of my hand, and he was like, she's not your wife anymore. You can no longer talk to her like that. Mm-hmm. And
I remember this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We hung up the phone, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I don't think he was at home when you guys were talking, but like after the fact he came home.
Yeah.
He told me about what transpired. And I think that's the first time I remember him kind of being like, props to Steven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it was props to Steven.
Like that's his right to do that, to defend you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that kind of transpired into like you communicating with me on certain things, right?
So I think we all learned from that experience as to the fact of Dan and I obviously cannot communicate well. So when it would come to certain aspects or things, I would just text Megan, I think originally to avoid confrontation with Dan or his opinions or whatever he felt like he needed to input into that conversation. And so I would go to Megan for a few things, and then sometimes I would go to Dan for a few things like doctor's visits or, you know, things of that sort for Dan. And if it was like, hey, Lana needs his asthma inhaler, I would go to Megan. So it was just kind of like I picked and choose who I needed to talk to avoid any issues. Mm-hmm. That takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, you have to learn like what areas like, and I think we've kind of mentioned this before, like playing to each other's strong suits in a way. Like Kayla knows I'm the one that handles like homework. I'm the one that handles like remembering things. So, like, yeah. So like there's certain things that she would go to me for that she knew that like it's just easier. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things like as their dad, you had to go to Dan for.
And I'll backtrack a little bit there. I had to learn, at first I think I would go to Megan for a lot of things because that just kind of, I think I was just trying to distance myself from Dan and say like, I can't continue like this. I'm not his wife anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't deserve to be treated like that anymore. Mm-hmm. There were times I remember, and again, I don't know what, we've talked a lot these last however many years, so I remember I would go to you for certain things and you didn't know how to react to me, like telling me no, or like we can't do that, or this, that, and the other because of whatever. Yeah. So then Dan would then call me and I'm like, shoot.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
No, and it was one of those situations where
I apologize. I put you in the middle of a few things.
No, and I never took it that way. It was more so I didn't want to take the decision away from Dan, but I thought I could kind of be like the, peacekeeper in a way. You know what I mean? And be like, hey, I just want to make sure you're good with this decision. Yeah. And then come back and tell you that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's just how I am in general. I'm a people pleaser, to be honest with you.
No, and I think to your aspect, I'm asking you for something about our kids. Mm-hmm. So if I'm like, hey, can I get so-and-so at this time? And you're like, oh, we have to go to Terry's. Yeah. And you probably didn't want to be the heavy and tell me no.
No, yeah.
Dan would then say like, hey, I know you talked to Megan. And I'm like, dadgummit, Megan. Yeah. And so there was a few times where I remember like I would go to you and I'm like, oh, I hope like Megan can just answer this because I don't want to deal with Dan. And then an hour or two later, Dan's calling you. And I'm like,
Dan, you have to go be the bad guy. Kayla still likes me. So you need to go be the bad guy. You tell her no. I'm not telling her no.
Right. Yeah. So it was a lot. And that wasn't overnight.
No, it's evolved a lot over the years.
Well, and then I honestly think, I'm trying to think back, and I could probably scroll because I do keep our chat, of when we made the parent chat.
Yeah, how long ago it was?
Do you remember why or how?
I have no idea why.
My first instinct was probably when Landon got admitted.
It could be
that way when everything everyone was on the same page at the same time.
That could be it. Mm-hmm.
So we, now we have a parent chat. It's literally called The Parents. And anything pertaining to Landon or Lily, and even some Brayden and Emma, goes in that chat. Yeah. Just because if Dan is busy working, Megan can see it. Or if Megan overlooked it and they go to the dinner table that night and they're like, hey, Kayla, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Or, oh, I did not see that. Thanks for telling me. Yeah. School, midterms this week, Lily's Christmas week of shenanigans, like
doctor's appointments, whatever.
I sent Megan 3 pictures of Lily's week this week of stupid Christmas stuff. Yeah. So
I got to tell you later about her questioning my ability to. She was really paranoid today that I told her the wrong thing to wear to school.
Well, and it's happened before. Yeah.
And she's like, can I wear it or can I read it? And I'm like, Lily, I know how to read.
I can read. I went to school. She's a little worrywart, isn't she? Mm-hmm.
But no, and I don't remember. And that's a good question.
I should
go back. We'll scroll. We'll figure it out, and then we'll insert it in here for you guys or something. Yeah. But I don't remember exactly, but I do remember those times, us communicating about things. And I've had the same situation, and even honestly more recently, because we've talked a little bit, my relationship with my ex, Brayden and Emma's dad, isn't as evolved as our relationship. And it's definitely better than it used to be. Yeah. We're still progressing and we're still learning things. But I did the same thing for a while. I would go to his new fiance and now wife. And I told her honestly, I was like, hey, listen, Jeremy and I have never been able to communicate. We just don't see eye to eye. Something about me and something about him pisses each other off. Yeah. Just what it is. Point blank. Yeah. And so I would go to her for things. And then recently he came to me and he said, hey, I would really appreciate if you came to me directly about stuff that involves our children. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And I have been, because I feel like I'm happy he's taking ownership of that. I feel like he really is trying to communicate with me. And he even said, he's like, listen, I know I'm difficult sometimes, but like, let's try to communicate. Yeah. You know, let's try to work on this.
And I think when I applaud Jeremy in that, because that was probably a difficult conversation for you all to have because there's so many parties involved and you just want to be able to have that cooperative approach. So you want to make sure that like everybody's on board, and if, you know, Fran's able to see text versus Jeremy, because for his job, he's like out for some time.
He is, yeah. He'll be gone for like a month and then back. And then sometimes Fran will have them a little different of a schedule based on when the baby and
right.
Jeremy.
And what she can and can't do. So I think as long as all parties are trying to be cooperative, you can't really
like fault
anybody. Yeah, that's a good word for it, because you don't want to say, well, you know, if he was, you'd kind of fault him if he was like, great, let Fran do it, because you're like, well, those are your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you're like, oh crap, like now Jeremy and wants to be really involved, so now I gotta tell him like everything. So it's a catch-22, but I think just be cooperative. If you prefer, I know Dan hates our parent chat probably majority of the time. For whatever tangent I have to go off
only when we go on tangents, not when it's pertinent information. Just when we go like TikToking to each other and stuff.
Sorry. There's some good TikToks out there.
There are.
And sometimes I feel this is a benefit to our parent chat, because there's some TikToks that I'm like, all of us as parents need to hear this. Like, I think I sent one this morning and I was like, yes, I'm sobbing. Because it was so... Did you open it?
So I did. The funny thing is I watched it on the way here, because this morning I was in the bathroom getting ready when you sent it. And Dan, I don't know why he said it like this, but you sent it to the group chat and he's like, you guys are so gay. I was like, what the heck?
Sorry.
I was like, what the heck?
It was for all of us.
I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. I was like, it was for all of us. It wasn't just me and Kayla. You guys were involved, but...
Did he open it?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
I have to ask Steven too.
Yeah. He left literally right after you sent that, so I don't know if he actually
It was a tearjerker, man.
Yeah, it was. It was a good
Sometimes
one.
I just like to put perspective. Like, I think there was one I sent and Megan was like, was that meant for like...
Oh, yeah,
you?
for Dan?
Or Dan? And I'm like, no, like, I think it was good for all of us to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be better at not blowing up the parent chat.
Well, we send each other stuff.
Yeah.
The other day, I think we had a conversation going on in like every app, texting and Instagram,
the chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of happening, and I was
funny.
like, should we condense this, or we just kept going?
No, you just go.
Thing. Each app had a different conversation,
and at probably different hours.
Oh, 100%.
Like I saw the text, I'm like, oh, okay, but then I hadn't gone on Instagram for a few hours. I'm like, oh crap, yeah,
yes,
you know. So okay, so for starters, I think a cooperative approach is the best for all parties.
Yeah.
When you're being cooperative, let's try to remain respectful of anybody and everybody who is or is not a part of that chat. I think that one's an easy one.
Yeah.
Don't be mean to people.
Yeah.
Even though you probably despise so-and-so and you don't want to invite them to your daughter's Christmas play, your daughter might want your ex there or what have you. Sit at completely different opposite ends of the room, but
100%.
Or sit together. That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. Well, and I was also, and I think that's a good point, because I think at the end of the day, it's not really about your feelings or your ex's feelings, it's about your kids' feelings, right? Yeah. So I guess my thing is, and I think we've both been mindful of this throughout our divorces and relationships, is like never talking bad about the other person.
Right.
Because I think that, and I actually read today, I wish I could find it really fast, but I think I read today that like you doing that about another person, like your child's other parent, it gives them like, they have insecurities, and like it gives them like, I wish I could find it.
Like
the child. Yes.
I thought it meant like you insecurities. I'm like, I can't talk crap about Dan if I want to for a little bit.
Just not around the other kids.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm not going to be able to find it quick enough. But it was interesting. I'm going to have to read more about it. But it was basically just saying like, if, say your child overhears you talking bad about their other parent.
Yes.
Like it gives them insecurities and like, you know.
That was tough for me. There's still times where that's tough for me. I'll be honest. Like there are times where, I don't know, Dan hasn't done anything too annoying recently. But like,
I think you guys just annoy each other sometimes, just like being normal.
Yes.
Like,
yes. But there will be times where like I'll probably be like venting to Steven about it. And I'm like, I can't believe like blah 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 blah. And then someone will come in and I'm like, and so that is what happened in the news the other day.
Did you see that thing on
crazy
TikTok?
article. You know, that was one thing even though I despised Dan during our divorce, I made sure I never talked negatively about him to the kids.
Yeah.
No matter what, because I never wanted to give the kids that view on their dad.
What I was going to say, that doesn't mean that he's a bad dad. He just wasn't a good husband to you. So, like,
Correct.
Those are two different roles. They
Right.
have nothing to do with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, trying to intertwine them isn't fair.
No.
So, well, and I think I want to, like, make it clear, and we talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but, like, I was actually looking at pictures today because that memory popped up of Christmas a couple years ago.
Aw, make sure you go like that picture.
Yeah.
I shared it on our page today.
Facebook and stuff, yeah.
I didn't share it on Instagram. Oh, I am the worst.
Can't you link them?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Probably. It probably might be on Instagram.
Can we link them?
I think you can, I can't.
Oh, okay. We'll have to figure that out. We'll figure that out. Anyways.
I mean, go to Facebook and like it.
Yeah, go there. So it made me just like, cause it was, I guess, our first group picture, right?
I think it was.
And I'm like, now I need to go like verify this information. So I like
Was I
started
wrong?
scrolling. No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Well, my first thought was that picture we took for Father's Day, but Emma and Braden weren't in it.
And Camden wasn't.
And Camden wasn't there yet. So I'm like, okay, so that makes sense. So this was like the first
Full
group picture. Yes. So I think you're right. And I'm like, okay, so that was in 21, right? Or 20? 21.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
23, 22, 20.
2 years ago.
21.
So I'm like, that's so crazy though. 2 years, that seems like a really long time ago, not 2 years ago. And so I just wanted to give people some like perspective. You've been with Steven for 5 years now?
Uh-huh.
Probably almost 6.
Yep.
Dan and I have been together 5 years now. So you think like it took years of work, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't like we hate each other up until that point, but it just
Yep.
slowly progressed. Like we slowly learned each other. We slowly figured out how we communicate as adults.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't always easy, like we've talked about before, but just some perspective on time. It took years.
Years.
I
And
wanna
it's still
know-
taking years.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny. I was thinking about the holiday chat we had the other day, just about coordinating and stuff like that. And it's almost, there's a different light in it because we're friends now.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's also like that aspect of like, I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to tell you no that you can't have the kids for something because you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm like, how do we finagle this? Like, how do we make everyone happy?
How do we make everybody happy?
Exactly.
Okay.
The coffee's actually making me hot.
Recommendation number 3.
You say it because I'm.
Provide the necessary information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's, to a sense, like, keep it short and simple.
Uh-huh.
Hey, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm planning to go here for the holidays on this date, da-da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. Are you cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple. Give all the necessary information needed.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to hide anything. Don't try to manipulate anything to have the other parent say yes or no. Just, this is what I'm trying to plan to do. Is it possible?
Mm-hmm.
Or here's the daughter's appointment. Here's the address. Here's the time and date. Put it on your calendar. It's your week. I need you to take them. Like,
Yeah.
I can't this week or what have you. So I think that's, that's kind of a simple point of just.
Well, I think it's double-sided too, right? So it's like pre-planning. You're trying to pre-plan and make everybody's lives easier. Things happen though. So I think it's also necessary to make sure that you're adaptive as well.
Yeah.
Like, and considerate, you know? So we do our best. All of us do our best to like provide the necessary information. But say I forget something and it's your week. And I'm like, oh, Kayla, can you please handle this? Because such and such doesn't judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just being like, oh yeah, I got you. Like, just.
Well, and I think that's to the next point that we wrote down is just like keeping everybody on the same page.
Exactly.
I think speaks volumes. Like, even if, funny story, and this actually has nothing to do with parenting, it's just the first thing that really came to my mind. Steven and I are trying to do a triple date with some of my colleagues, and it was supposed to happen in November. Did not work out. Now we're into December because someone wrote it on a different calendar. It was supposed to happen tomorrow.
I was going to say, right? Thursday?
Yeah. It's not happening because we weren't on the same page. So finally I said, listen, I'm putting this on all of our work calendars so
Yeah.
we all see it. So we
yeah.
all know what's happening here because otherwise
It's never going to happen.
we'll see each other next year, obviously.
Literally.
Yeah. So I think even, you know, to the aspect of maybe even making like a family calendar of like everything that needs to happen. These are your weeks. These are appointments. These are what we're trying to plan. Like,
yeah.
I just asked her before the thing. I was like, I've got a work thing that I got to go to. Good job. Yeah. You see? We're getting there. I've got a work thing I got to go to in March. It's my week. Can you take them? Like, and she's like, yeah, remind me. But yes. Yes. You know, so I think just making sure that, you know, you give as much needed information and keeping everybody on the same page.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a matter of, you know, in the beginning, it's not going to be easy because there's going to be hurt feelings and there's going to be a lot of, you know, emotions that are involved. And I think you have to like shift out of that mindset of like they're out to get you, or you know what I mean, or they're trying to make your life harder, or whatever the case may be. Like everybody's just trying to make it.
We're all just trying to survive.
Just trying to survive
at this point.
What's the last one?
Last one is exploring different options. So like I'm gonna say like one more time just to throw a third like in there. If text messaging is not the best option for you, like sometimes things tend to be like misconstrued when you're texting, where if I like put 3 exclamation marks, it doesn't mean I'm yelling at you, it means I'm excited. You know. And
I think some people are just like, Dan hates text messaging, like we talked about. He likes phone calls. So I feel like it just, you have to know the person too, and be respectful of what maybe their way of communicating is different than your way of communicating, and then figure it out together.
Like I think to the point of that, it's funny. I try, like if it's a weekend, I try not to text the parent chat until after 10 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays. Well, Sundays are a little different now. I don't text parents out on Sundays. We text each other on Sundays. But on Saturdays after 10, because I know the Millers like their sleep. And I'm up at 7 a.m. So I'm like, oh, I can't text anything.
My phone's on vibrate, so you can text if you want to.
Yeah, but like, what if it's not? And then like...
Yeah, that's true. Dan's is never on silence, and I'll text him.
That's what I'm saying. If I text the parent chat, Dan's phone's going to go off, then you're grumpy, and you're like, Kayla!
Yeah,
it just, that's not fair.
It's fine. Last Saturday, he had his alarm on, and it woke me up.
Ew.
It's terrible. Worst. I know.
So, yeah. Find a different outlet if texting is not for you. Find a different outlet. I know we kind of did a little bit of research on this, and to Megan's point earlier, there are parenting apps.
So basically, worst case scenario.
If you
can't communicate. You resort to one of these, and I didn't, like I said, didn't know they existed. But they literally monitor everything. Like I'm talking like finances, phone calls. I think it had like a calendar so you can plan things. Like it has everything.
There was one I saw, and I thought it was hysterical at first, but then I took a step back and I was like, you know what? People could benefit from this. There's one app. It was the one that I tried to reach out to, and they never wrote me back. But we're going to go ahead and drop their name in here in hopes that maybe they'll see this one day and be like, oh, crap, and go from there.
Was it the top one?
Yeah, so it's the top parenting communication app for 2023, and it's Our Family Wizard. This app will, if as you're texting and writing out what you need to say, and you're probably dropping bleep, 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 bleeps, it'll highlight it and recommend
new words
for you to say.
That's hilarious.
It's like a tone detection. And it'll tell you like, hey, you probably shouldn't say it like this. Here's a different way of saying get your butt off the couch or whatever. And I was like,
I wonder what it would change bad words into.
Stars, maybe?
Maybe. Like bleep, bleep.
You mother, bleep. You cotton-headed ninny muggins.
That honestly, spot on. I love that.
So, that was just the...
angry-o.
Yeah. So, that was just one I thought was really cool.
That's interesting.
Like I said, it was the top one. I didn't really go into a big list of other apps. There are so many out there, though. I'm sure there's some that cost money. I'm sure there's some that are free. There's some that you can download yourself. But then there's also, from what I understand, and we've been blessed not to have to deal with this, some are court ordered.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And they go through the court system, and the court monitors all of that. And so... there's so many other options that you can do to kind of alleviate those stressors of communicating with your ex-partner.
Yeah. feel like there was more things. Do we have more things? Did you ever mention, on another episode, did you talk about how, remember at was it the orthodontist, the lady that mentioned to you, like, you said we had a parent chat, and they were like, oh, which one do you use? And you're like, iMessage?
Right.
Do you remember that? Did you
I
mention
do.
that?
No, so I don't think I mentioned that. So, yeah, the other day we were talking with Lily, the orthodontist assistant. I don't, you know, she does like most of the work, and then the orthodontist comes in and she's like, yep, looks great.
Checks everything?
Yeah. Yeah. So she was amazing. And I don't know how we got on to co-parenting conversations.
It's because you had to take a video.
I had to take a video, and then I asked for an extra key and 2 households.
Lily got a spacer. We were very worried about it.
Expander.
Oh, expander. I'm sorry, expander.
Yes.
And we have to do this thing inside her mouth. So yeah, and that video is very helpful. I refer to it quite often.
Is it? Yay. See,
Yeah.
I'm here to make it easier for you.
Well, we've talked about this. I never had dental things.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I just didn't feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
So now I got it down. But the first like 3 or 4 times I did it,
That's
I
a
went and
struggle.
watched it and just made sure I had it turned the right way because it
Mhm.
just makes me nervous.
Yeah. So she would, to that point, I actually totally forgot about that. Good job, Megan. She was like, oh, well, that's awesome. You know, me and my ex, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it sucks, you know, but, you know, when we have these conversations, I'm just going to put it in our parent chat. And she was like, oh, well, what app do you use? And I'm like, text message? She's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, we just made like a parent chat and
talk to each other.
And I uploaded the video as I was talking to her.
And that was the moment that I learned that there were these apps. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I had heard, I'm sure, like you when I was younger, that there were court-ordered ones, but I just didn't know there were, I never thought about there's ones that people just download and use because of, you know, issues. Communication issues.
Sometimes it's tough.
Yeah. I was thinking about, and I feel like we talked about it a little bit, but maybe you can talk a little more. I was thinking about it earlier today when we were talking about our points and what we want to talk about. But now, like, do you feel like there's a reason, or I feel like we do it very appropriately, but even now, like, are there certain things that you go to me for that could maybe go to both, but you're like, oh, I'll just talk to Megan about this, because I feel like I do that because Dana will be like, I'll ask Kayla this, and I said, we're texting now, I'll just tell her, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's like convenience.
I think now that we've kind of learned each other, that's weird to put it, but now that we've learned each other in a sense, I feel like I can go to you for pretty much about 90% of the stuff. You'll talk to Dan about it or things of that sort. Yeah, I think Dan's kind of like eliminated for most of the communication.
Pretty much, yeah.
Unless it's like a quick thing that like, we're like, oh crap, I gotta go tell Dan about that. Or like
a reminder.
Yes. And even then it's either just a simple text or a quick phone call of like, hey, sorry. Like, okay, for Lily's expander the other day, and I texted him and I was like, hey, don't forget to send me money for that. He's like, yeah, no problem. And then nothing. But I didn't nag him about it. And I'm like, he'll get it when he gets it, whatever the case may be. And so he called me. He's like, listen, I promise I had not forgot about you, but it was on my mind. I just had to let you know, like, blah, 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 blah.
See,
I'm
he's
like,
a caller. He doesn't like to text.
Yep. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, that's fine. No worries. So, yeah, I think most of it's eliminated because I know I can.
Yeah, and I feel like that's really the only thing that isn't like parent chatted or we talk about, like, it's you know,
I put the necessity information in the parent chat,
which is helpful because, like I said, I refer back to it like Lily's weekly Christmas thing she had. Like, I've gone back to that like 4 times this week.
So, or like emails for school.
Yes.
And it's just easier, like, if I'm in the hustle and bustle of work and I see
screenshot
it.
Send.
Yep, 100%. I'll screenshot it, I'll send it, and I'll even probably forgot I sent it to y'all, and then like days later I'm like, crap. Megan, did I? And you're like, oh yeah, blah, blah, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I just kind of eliminated Dan from most communication.
It's funny. I was like researching stuff about communication today, and I feel like a lot of the things seem like self-explanatory in a way. You know what I mean?
But it's so hard when you've got emotions.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The emotions just taint it and make it so hard. And even now, like, it's so funny, like, we have conversations and I'll go home and I'll be thinking about our conversations, and I don't know where the barrier is, but there's a barrier with Jeremy and Fran. And it's like, I feel like if I could have an open and honest conversation with them, like, hey, this is why I was going to Fran, I didn't realize I should have, you wanted to have a conversation. Like, I feel like it would eliminate so many issues, but like, you just have to overcome that barrier of like like the awkwardness or whatever the case may be, because at the end of the day, like, even if it's weird or you get in a fight, I feel like you grow from that in the end. Like, you figure out what.
If you fight healthy.
Yes.
If y'all are just at each other's throat just to be at each other's throat, like.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting to me because I'm not a fighter either, right? Like, I'm not a yeller. I don't like confrontation. Dan and I have been able to, we are able to argue and grow from it.
Yes.
My ex and I could not. We were the same way as you guys. Yep. We argued and we hurt each other's feelings, and I would cry and then
do it again in a couple weeks.
And then do the same exact thing. Yes. We never learned. We never grew. We never overcame any issues. We just built new issues on top of each other. So even that, like, you learn, like, you and Steven are able to communicate, like, effectively, right? So everybody's just different, and I feel like you just have to figure it out.
And I think it's how you approach it too. If you come in hot and heavy,
1,000%, you need to take time to cool off,
build some walls,
real
quick. Sure. And so, I mean, it's funny you say that. Steven and I, there are times where, and I think most, what's the generation above us?
I don't know.
Zennials?
What's below, what, above or below a millennial? Like, younger than us or older than us?
Older than us.
It's not Gen Z, is it?
Gen X? No.
Either Gen Z or Gen Y.
I want to say it's Gen Z, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think older than Gen
us,
Z.
Steven and I will go to bed angry. Because there are times where we get into the hustle and bustle of the argument, and then both of us are just at wits.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like
and I'm like, we're not getting anywhere.
And you're just trying to, like, annoy each other or one-up each other at that point.
Yep.
And, like, you're just making it worse.
Well, and we'll begrudgingly. That's how you say that, right?
I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure.
Yeah. We'll say that. We'll be like, love you. Love you too. And then we'll go to bed. And then the next day, like, we go about our day.
Calms down.
And then we talk the next day. And we're like, listen, like, I maybe it was a little out of hand, or, well, I shouldn't have said that. And
when I feel like that's a representation of a relationship too. Like, if you want to even get into it a little deeper, like, I feel the same way. Like, Dan and I can have an argument and we can be kind of at like odds almost for a couple days. I'd say a max 2 days, not even 2 full days, like a day and a half of work or whatever. But we'll be kind of disgruntled with each other. And even though I'm annoyed with him, I know it doesn't change. Like, we still love each other. We still want the best for each other.
Yeah.
You're just annoying as shit right now.
And you're getting on my nerves.
Exactly. But it doesn't change anything. So, I mean, I think it's honestly comes with maturity of just being like, hey, listen, you're really annoying right now.
Yeah.
We're going to talk tomorrow.
Or like, and it's the mood you're in. Like,
100,
there have been times where I'll just be like, okay. And he's like, why are you doing? I'm like, I'm just not in the mood to argue right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have
tired.
it in me.
Yeah. I've had a long day. We've been going.
I just don't really care.
I'm tired. I'm just going to go to bed. You know, and I will talk about this tomorrow. I promise.
Yeah. It's not important. It's just that I can't give you what this conversation needs at this moment.
And I think sometimes I need to, like, take in the conversation and
I'm
kind
very
of
much
like
that.
Break it down and, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
I'm very much like that. Yeah. I don't like to, I feel like when you're in the heat of the moment like that, typically one person's more mad than the other, right?
Yeah.
The person who's more mad isn't hearing anything you say anyways. No. So why am I wasting my time? Like,
you know what?
No matter what I say or how I say it, no matter how nice I am or sweet I am or delicate I am, it's probably going to honestly make you madder. So I honestly in those moments have just walked away and been like, catch you tomorrow.
Yep.
So
we could probably do a whole nother episode on this type of communication.
Oh yeah, very much so. Yelling, arguing, fighting. I don't know. I feel like it's interesting, and I wonder. We should ask the guys this if they feel like this. I feel like as I get older as a woman, I learn a lot of like intricate details of like who we are, how we talk to each other, how all of the like. I think as when you're younger, your views are so like skewed by your insecurities or by
what other people think.
Yeah. And I feel like when all those things change, like your whole perspective.
Oh yeah.
changes.
I don't argue now like I did 10 years ago.
I've never argued, but that's.
No?
No, I'm a de-escalator. I don't raise my voice. I very rarely raise my voice, I should say.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
we need to learn from Megan, y'all.
Sometimes the kids get me there a little bit, but I'm just not a yeller. You have to really do something to offend me. And I will say I have raised my voice at Dan a couple of times because it's more so like, you're going to listen to what I have to say.
Right.
And he knows if I raise my voice, like,
he's like, oh,
I have something to say.
Right.
Like, so, but no, I'm not a confrontational person.
I try to.
Not to?
I try not to yell.
Yeah.
Try.
I just think it's like we talked about before, though. Like, you're more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Dan's more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I need therapy, honestly, guys.
I have no emotion.
It's not. The funny thing is, it's not that. I do have a lot.
You express it in a different way.
We need to probably get a therapist in here because I have a really hard time expressing my emotion. I don't like it. Makes me feel very vulnerable. Any kind of sadness makes me feel weird and uncomfortable.
I had a light bulb.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
more to come.
What is that? Oh, more to come. Mm-hmm. I was like, what's more to come?
That was funny.
Time for bed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, I don't but that's part of it though for me, is like learning those things about myself, which I think when I was younger I was too stubborn I was like, well, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. You know, and like as I've gotten older, I've learned like we all play a part in it. Whether you see what you're doing or not, you play a part in it.
Yeah.
And it's immature and selfish and unrealistic to be like, this person's 100% the issue and I have nothing to do with it.
I feel
you
like
1,000% play a part.
I feel like a lot of people view stuff that way.
100%.
Like, I'm going to say more to come on this one.
Yeah, we'll dive more into it.
Yeah, I
Emotions
think
and
maybe Megan and I, I'm going to do a little research on that one. Talk to a few people. Let's have like a communication 2.0.
Sure.
On a different aspect.
Yeah.
This was communication for how... Co-parenting.
Maybe dive into relationship wise.
Yeah.
When I think there's so many levels of that too. Like, like friendships, parents, you know, there's so much in that we can go into.
Yeah. There's so much. And I think it'd be really helpful to put that out here for you guys. So, let's circle back to this one. I think we had a good start. Yeah. Communication is a broad spectrum.
Huge, yeah. I think that's why I had such a hard time trying to pinpoint
what to talk about today. Yeah. And I think this is a good start. I hope it was helpful for you guys. It was educational for us. Yeah. On just some certain things that we currently do and could continue to work on.
I want to throw out there, and we have a little note that we go back and forth with for our episodes. And I was researching, this was weeks ago, and I found something on parallel parenting. Okay. I believe is what it was called. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I had never heard of it, and I won't talk much about it, but I want to know if anybody has heard of it and if you use it and like what's your experience, I guess, is the best way. Because I had never, I think from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the gist, like co-parenting is together, right? It's you're working on this together for your children. Parallel parenting is where you basically like when your kid is with you, you do this, and when your kid is with the other parent, they do this. They're not cohesive. They don't do anything together. It's very so.
I want to hear from them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want y'all's input on what you think parallel parenting is versus co-parenting. And I think Megan and I are going to do a little bit more research on parallel parenting. And kind of bring it back because when you brought that up, I think we initially parallel parented for a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Not intentionally.
No.
So yeah, more to come on that.
I honestly would love to hear from you guys if y'all have, like we've talked about before, anything y'all want to talk about, any questions you have. Are there topics you want us to discuss? Are there things that we've talked about in our episodes you want us to maybe expand upon, like stories we might have or whatever? That'd be fun for next year.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. We've got about 6 months planned, give or take some blank areas, but I think I've got some ideas for us to fill in. Some I just came up with now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, crazy. I guess our first episodes aired in November?
October.
So
October.
November, December. So we've been at this for a few months now.
Yeah.
you know, first, I guess I want to just thank you guys for being with us so far.
We're
right?
at almost 200 followers on Facebook.
Next year, let's make that way bigger.
200,000. I have high hopes.
We're gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know?
But that wouldn't be able without you guys, because obviously I suck at marketing because I post something on Facebook and on Instagram, as we learned. So
we're learning.
Help us share the word. You know, it doesn't take but a minute to just share, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
To the YouTube.
To the YouTubes. Where children would be.
Ashamed.
Ashamed, yeah.
But we appreciate all y'all's support just now, and I can't wait to see what we all get to do in 2024. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Thank you guys so much.